Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie Jessica.
So it's that time of the week. It's time for us to do our 1-minute book recs. I feel like we haven't done this in forever, but this is where we go over all the books we read in the past week with 1-minute synopsises for each book.
Okay. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are on our road to 2K giveaway. We're going to have some Amazon wish lists that we're going to gift you some books from your wish list. And we have some of our favorite books that we're also going to be giving away. So for more information on that, check out our video about our road to 2K, which came out on Wednesday with our winner for the 1500. So you can have more info on that.
All right, so let's jump into our weekly reading week. How was your week? I know where you were. I know you were busy. So tell me about your week.
I got 5 books in.
Okay. Is that include the
book we read together?
There's a book. Yeah. Okay. I got 7 books in, and that includes the book that we read together.
Okay.
So I actually have like a book that I think is going down as definitely a top read of the year. So I had 3 arcs this week, and you had how many?
2.
Yeah.
Well, so I have 1 arc and 1 alk.
An alk.
I don't like that word.
It's a hard one to say.
It's just weird sounding.
It is. All right. So should we talk about the book real briefly that we both read together?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So go ahead.
That was Hung by Summer O'Toole. And this is part of the DNF series. There's 12 authors, several authors that we love, like Daisy Jane, Misty Walker,
the Subject, and
yeah.
I'm so sorry if we're saying her last name wrong. It's just a hard one to say.
Yeah. We need to track her down and find out.
We do.
There's lots of great authors participating in this. And real quick, it just is about this DNF bookstore in Salem where all of this kind of goes around this. And these authors just wrote hilarious, cringy books to be part of this DNF series, though. So they're all novellas. So there is a bingo board that goes along with this. And we are going to have a vlog out that talks about all of these books, all 12, and it will be out next Wednesday. So these books come out on Friday. If you want to read along with us, you can join us on that vlog, which will be out on Wednesday. Yeah. Definitely take a look at them. They're lots of fun. Yeah, I don't think we probably want to say anything else.
No, I think that just one thing is the agenda behind them is to make you cringe and to see how many you can get through before you DNF. And I believe that's why they call it the DNF series, but we're going to make it through all of them.
Yeah. So lots of fun. They're super great. I've loved the ones I've read so far. So
yeah, they're
definitely check those out on Friday.
Okay. All right. So if you get the timer ready,
it's ready.
I'll start and we'll get this moving and grooving. Okay, so the first book I read it on the bus ride home from Canada when I was out of Seattle. This is Graves by Caitlin Taylor. This is about Blake. She is being stalked, and she's being stalked by this guy. Obviously, she's being stalked. She doesn't know that he's stalking her, and this guy is unhinged. Absolutely crazy, unhinged. He is in love with her. He breaks into her house at night. He is just nuts. And he has an identical twin. Him and his brother are both mercenaries, so they call each other themselves. They don't like being referred to as hitmen. And the one that's stalking her, which is Zayden, he ends up doing something he shouldn't and getting thrown in jail. And he begs Dominic, his twin brother, to protect his angel. And that leads Dominic to falling in love with his angel. And Zayden is ticked off because that girl is his and these guys don't share, and it becomes a whole thing when he breaks out of prison. So good. I gave it 4 stars. I listened to the audio, loved it so much. It has like all of my favorite tropes in it, and it is an MFM, but they are identical twins.
Sorry, I could not get the timer to stop.
It's all good.
So my next book is my advanced listener copy. So this was an audiobook and it's called Faal Start by Lisa Suzanne. This is the second one in her Vegas Aces playbook series. So I did talk about the first one last week. So just a really quick recap. This is book 2 out of the 5 books. I'm trying to find my right page. Sorry. So we have Victoria and Travis. Travis plays for the Vegas Aces, and he recently got custody of his 10-year-old daughter. He knew about her, but she was being raised by her mom and her mom's husband, as those were her parents. And they were both killed. And in the will, it stated he was to get custody of his daughter. So he has his daughter now. And we have Victoria, who works at the school his daughter is going to be attending. And Victoria and Travis have met before. And Victoria turned him down. And Travis is not used to being turned down. So he's a little irritated with her. And she's a little irritated with him, thinking that he's like this gift to women because he's a football player. And so we've got some definite tension going on between them. So this is basically the continuation. And these books are, most of Lisa Suzanne's writing is broken up into like 5 installments. So it's a little, I don't want to say it's like a soap opera, but it's kind of broken into like chunks. And then the books are going to leave you on cliffhangers. So you have to kind of keep going. If that, does that track? Do you see what I'm saying? So yeah. So I listened to that. So again, I'm at 4 stars with it. I am getting a little annoyed with the heroine, but I'm hoping that's gonna play out differently once we get to book 3.
Okay.
I think when you break a storyline up into 5 sections, sometimes it can be a little hard not to have it feel a little soap opera. So there's like drama that maybe just kind of, plays out there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I get it.
I will report back when I listen to book 3, which I hope is soon because this really was a cliffhanger. Oh, and
All
my
right.
hair is doing stuff and you're not telling me. Thanks.
I'm too worried about mine
bestie.
looking like it does because it needs my hairdresser really badly right now.
I have a hair appointment next week too.
I have a hair appointment next week.
So we'll be looking good next week on 1 Minute Book Recs. Not the not
Mondays,
this
coming.
The following Mondays. Tune in for good hair.
Yeah. Or hair mistakes. I tend to make those quite often. So, Okay. Anyhow, the next book that I read, Mandy and I saw this at the airport. This was an ARC that I got. Yes, we were talking about it at the airport. I applied for it the minute we found out about it.
Oh, okay. I was like, you did not buy a book you saw at the airport. That would never happen.
No. This is an ARC that I got. I got it the next day after we got home, and I was like, nobody talked to me. And so this one is a dark romance. It is the author is Ember Hughes, and you can find it's in the book. It's anywhere. This is Daisy Jane writing as Ember Hughes. This is going to be her dark romance name that she's going to use. And oh my God, let me tell you guys about this.
I can't wait to grab this book.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
I've been hearing you talk about it to me all week, and I'm like, I can't wait.
I know, it's so good. Okay, so this book is about Colton and Kinley. So Colton and Kinley meet when they're young in school. When she moves to town, like he's a year older, or a grade ahead of her in school, but they meet when they're young. They're actually neighbors on neighboring ranches, and they are together up until their late teens. When he's 17, when Colton's 17, something happens, and he and her break up. And he can't stay at home anymore. He can't live on the ranch there. So he takes off and goes to, I believe they're in Wyoming here, but he goes to Texas and works on a ranch. And then we find out that, we see this in flashbacks. So we find out that something has happened. He has to go home. His sister lives on the ranch still with their dad, and he has to go home to the ranch. When he gets home, he finds out that his dad has kind of given away the ranch to the neighboring guy because of bad debts. And so he goes to figure out what's going on. So he sneaks into that house, and this leads to a captor-captive situation. It also leads to him finding Kinley for the first time. Now she is mute and she doesn't talk at all. And there's a lot that happens behind the scenes here. I mean, I can't say anything else because I just don't know what to do. Like, I don't want to give anything away.
No, don't.
No,
I
what
want to
pulled
read
us
this.
in for this one were the tropes. You know, that's cowboy, it's dark, it's captor captive, you have a mute heroine, it's, you know, childhood, like there's this relationship that just goes on forever. There is definitely dark track triggers. There is trafficking that happens in this book as well. And that is listed in the triggers. You can see that anywhere. But go get it. 5 stars. It's going to be a top read of the year. And I cannot wait. It does not end on a cliffhanger. This couple's relationship ends. You're right there? What's that?
No, I have a mosquito bite and it's driving me insane.
You just had an eye closed and I'm like, what's going on? This couple's story does end on an HEA in this book, but this is the first book in a duet, and it sets up the second book, which is another set of characters. So I'm dying for that. Like, I am like,
do you know when it's releasing?
No, Daisy won't tell me, or she hasn't told me. So I asked. Maybe she's still in the process of writing. I'm not 100% sure. I just know that I told her.
She's a fairly consistent writer. Like with her Twisted Sisters series, the first book was out in April, then we have July, and the next one I think is September, October. Yeah. So there's usually only a few months in between. So hopefully
very soon.
Oh, unless she's trying to finish the 3rd Twisted Sisters book.
Yeah, see, I don't know. And that's okay. She writes fairly quickly, and that's fine. I'm just, yay, Daisy. Like, she knocked this out of the park. This was so incredibly good. Like, if I had to rank my books right now, this would be in the top 5 of the year. Loved it so much. Okay.
I will be reading it as soon as you stop talking so we can finish this and I can go read it.
Is it out now? I think it comes out on the 9th. Or did it come out yesterday?
No, it comes out on Friday. Dang it.
Okay, so what is your next book of the week?
My next book of the week is Hide Away With You by Judy Corey. Okay. I think that's how you say her name. So I started this book. It came out back, I think, in April, and I started it, and then I needed to read a different book for something else. And so it just took me a while to get back to it, but I got back to it. So we have Addie, who has been, she's been dating Evan. They've been together. She thought they were getting married. Evan became her kind of guardian when her family was killed. They were in the mafia type business, and he became her guardian, and then they started a relationship. So I was really hoping for this to be extremely taboo, and it really wasn't. Judy writes very clean romance, so if you're looking for clean romance, this could be a great book for you to read. This is told, though, kind of in flashbacks through his journal, because we start off with Evan is gone. He is out of her life, and she has no idea what happened to him other than a cryptic voice message he left when he was gone on a trip, and just basically told her it was over and to move on. And she feels like this just wasn't him and their relationship. So she is trying to figure out where he is and what has happened to him, because again, there's mafia ties in the family. So she's worried for his safety as well. So that's where we are, is her trying to figure out what has happened to him. I rated this a 3.5, just because I got a little bored at times with it, and I felt like I don't know. I still enjoyed it. I don't regret it. It just wasn't, maybe, let's just be honest, you ruined me.
Sorry? How did I ruin you?
Forcing me to not like good books that are sweet anymore, and going for all of like the darker romance and stuff.
I think that's like your book taste evolving. I don't know that I ruined you.
I'm pretty sure it's you.
Okay, I'll take the blame for that. All right, so you ready for my next book?
Yes. I do want to say, though, that if you are looking for a clean romance book, I have read other stuff by Judy that I've really enjoyed. So definitely check her out. I think I went into it thinking it was going to have a lot more of the forbidden taboo aspect, and I should have known it wasn't going to.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So the next book in my reading journey of the week was Black Skies Riviera by Katherine Walter. So this is a mafia romance. This is about Eileen, or she goes by Issa, and Aiden. He's also called the Raven in this book. So Issa is protecting her sister. Her sister was supposed to marry this guy in the mafia, and she didn't want to, and she took off, and she's in hiding. And so Issa is protecting her older sister. She is not telling anybody where the sister is, even though she knows where the sister is. She's getting clues. She is part of the Bratva, and then Aiden is, I believe it's Italian, but this happens in the Riviera, so I cannot remember 100%. But Aiden he's not the heir to the mafia. He is a guy that works in the mafia, but because of his status in the mafia, he is told that he is going to marry Issa, whether he likes it or not. Like, that is going to be his role. And so that is what happens. Well, he likes it not. He is not into this idea, but he has been working his way up in the mafia to get the names of the people who killed his father and his family. And he's told by the head of the mafia that if he marries Issa, that they will give him the names of the people that hurt his family. And so that is what he does. He marries her. And so this is a forced marriage mafia romance. Oh, loved it. I gave it 4 stars. It was 4 solid stars. It was great. Katherine Walter is an author who passed away in at the end of March of this year. And so it's sad. I loved her writing. I really enjoy her books. So, but I was doing a deep dive into some of her stuff this week. So yeah, she was young. It was sad. She was in her 30s. So anyhow, or close to it. Yeah. So what else you got?
All right. Next, I read the next book in the Shattered Souls series by Ren Shear. We met her in the Canadian Rockies, and I read the first book, and I was halfway through this one. And so I was very excited to meet her. She is fantastic. And
she's great.
Oh my gosh, I'm loving her books. So the book I read was Wrecked. And this is in Wronged, we have Jacob's story. And in Wrecked, we have Campbell's story. He goes by Cam. And we see the after effects of like what happens to him, because him and Jacob were very good friends. So what happened to him, and where is he? What has gone on? So we get his story here in this book, and basically his life fell apart too right after everything happened. And so his parents moved him clear across the country, and they started treating him very differently, kind of like almost a guilt by association type situation. And so he has now turned to illegal street racing. He does drugs, like hard drugs. He drinks, and he just kind of has thrown his life away because he's such a tortured soul from all of the things that have gone down. And we have Jasmine, who is a nurse, and he ends up wrecking his car and ends up in the hospital, and she is his nurse. And so that is how they meet. I loved this book so much. 5 stars. We have Walter, who is a patient also at the hospital that I just loved. And the title of this book is Wrecked, but oh my gosh, did this book also wreck me. I cried and had to get tissue so I could continue reading because my eyes were so blurry. Wasn't just a little bit of tears, very emotional. It is more on the slow burn side, but it doesn't feel slow burny, if that makes sense. And I really love the racing aspect too. My family does racing. And while we are not illegal street racers, my husband does go to the drag strip sometimes. He hasn't in a few years, but there's talk about how like he has all of the seats out of the back of his car and stuff. And racers really do that. So I kind of enjoyed seeing some stuff in there that like that on the racing aspect as well. Okay. So check this out. You definitely want to read Wronged first, though. I suppose you could read this as a standalone, but everything is going to make a lot more sense if you read Wronged first and then read Wrecked.
Okay. All right. So the next book I have is another arc, and I believe this comes out Friday as well. Yeah, Friday. Okay. So let's talk about it. This is an LV Lane.
Friday is a popular day for
It really
books.
is. Yeah. So this is Tamed for Her Pleasure by L.V. Lane. This is the 23rd book in her Coveted Prey series, but they can all be read as standalones with the exception of books 2 and 3. So this is, like I said, it's a novella. It's shorter. It is extremely spicy. It was good, though. It was really good. So it's Omegaverse. It's fantasy. This is about a princess and a barbarian king. And so Penelope, our princess, goes into her father's dungeon one day. Like, she's trained. She can fight. She wears battle leather, like the whole nine. But she goes into the prison and she sees this guy who's being held. And he says that, so he's a barbarian as well. And he says that his mate is being kept by the king somewhere else, but they have another mate in their little triad that they have that he's like, if you could get information to them, that would be awesome. So she sneaks out of the castle and she goes to infiltrate the war camp that the barbarian king, who is Alfred, has outside of the city, because they're about to raid the city to get their people out of this prison. And when she goes there to tell them what's going on, she gets captured by Alfred. And then, you guys can only imagine what happens there. He does not have a wife. And by God, he likes the way this one smells. So she is a beta. He is an alpha. It's got that Omegaverse in it. I gave it 4.5 stars. It was a smutty good time. I love all of the Coveted Prey books that I've read. They're different and they're fun. They're really fun books. So good job, L.V. Lane. That was great. So yeah.
Okay.
Next.
Okay, my last book is also an arc that I had, and it comes out on Friday as well. So lots of great books are dropping at the beginning of August. And then I kind of have a dry spell in August for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know about everybody else's TBR, but that's kind of where mine's at. Yep. So I read The Dark Before Light by L.M. Halloran. I absolutely love L.M. Halloran. So I was excited to get this book. This follows Talia and Kieran. And Talia is a different type of heroine, and I struggle to like her at times. And I know that sounds probably awful. She is a sex educator. She's worked as a dominatrix. She's out of that and she works as a therapist. But the parts that I kind of struggled with is that she's an unorthodox therapist. And so some of her tactics have to do with, like, she kind of feels a little manipulative. And I just didn't necessarily care for her at times. And the whole sex club dominatrix is just not something I really enjoy reading. I don't know why it is. Like Breeding Kink, I love it. Like other stuff, I've read some dom stuff, but it has to be a little more on the lighter side. And this felt like it dominated a lot of her personality, even though she wasn't involved in it at the time anymore. So I just struggled with her a little bit. I still really enjoyed the book. The book was good. It's just, I don't know. I didn't really like Talia that much, and that's horrible.
Not horrible. We both have a thing with sex clubs where I just don't get, like, it's okay if they're a dom in the bedroom, but taking it out of that, it doesn't do it for me.
Yeah. So we have Kieran. He is this Irish billionaire who lives in California, and he is working, or I guess his company is a billionaire, like $1 billion industry. And he is working on something that some people don't want to see happen. And he is very passionate about it. And it led to his wife being killed. And this is like 5 years later, and he's spiraling out of control. And he is forced to go to therapy by his family. And that is how they meet. And so she desperately wants to help him because he did something, a very kind thing for her when they were teenagers that he does not remember her, but she knows his name, so she knows who it is. So she's desperate to help him. And so that is our story.
Okay.
So check that out on Friday, along with all the other great books.
All the other great books. Yeah. All right. I still have 2 more to talk about. Okay, so the next book I read was another Katherine Walter. This is the 2nd book in the Christo Sinners series. Okay, let me tell you guys about this. So this one is called A London Villain. This is about Ada and Frank. Ada is a part of the Irish mafia, and she is also a dancer. Her mother taught her how to be a dancer before her mother was killed. And then you have Frank, and Frank is British, but I believe he's Italian mafia. I think that's what he belongs to. I keep getting confused on whose mafias were, but I know that she is Irish. When they're young, Frank sees her dancing through a window and he is just smitten with her immediately. And then he doesn't see her again until she is in her late teens. At this point, she is being forced to marry a guy from the Bratva that she doesn't want to marry, who is very cruel to her. And he sees her going into a library, and they have their second meet cute over the Count of Monte Cristo. So there's a lot of those references in this book, which I loved. But when they kind of have a little fling, and when her family and the mafia dude find out about it, there is hell to pay, and they are separated, and there is a lot of damage done during that time. And then he keeps track of her until several years later. It's like 14 years later when all of this other stuff transpires. And we just go from there, where they meet up again. So I loved this. I gave this 4.5 stars. I loved this one. These are both of Katherine's that I've told you about are very dark. So definitely check triggers. There is a lot of darkness going on in both, but this one just resonated with me. There was a setup for a third book in this, but unfortunately Katherine passed away before the third book could be published. So it's these two do end with their HEAs. It was just setting up another character in a third book. So unfortunately that's not available. So, but this one's great. Check out both of these. Okay, and my last book was my last arc of the week. Now this book is out. It came out on, what's today? Wednesday? Came out on Tuesday. This book came out on Tuesday. So this is Owen by BJ Alpha. This is the third book in the Storm series. And oh my gosh. Okay. I didn't think BJ could do, I didn't think she could top Bren and my other favorites, but she did. So this is about Leia and Owen. So Leia is the younger sister of Tate, which is the second book in the series. And she has been in love with Owen forever. Now, Owen and Tate are best friends. And so this is a best friend's brother situation, or a brother's best friend situation. And she has followed these guys around since she was little. Like, she has just been in love with them. Well, on her 18th birthday, she and Owen get it on. And right after he takes her virginity, he does something that is unforgivable, just horrible, and crushes her soul. And so she takes off, goes to Florida. That is where she meets another guy who she ends up getting married to and getting pregnant with his child. Unbeknownst to her, he is into some things that are pretty rough, pretty bad, and they put her in some pretty precarious situations. Owen, now as he is aged, he's realized that it doesn't matter that is his best friend's sister. He doesn't care anymore, and he wants her. And he wants the baby she's carrying. And he does not care that she is married to somebody else. And then the story goes from there. So incredibly good. I gave it 5 stars. I think Owen is my new favorite out of all of BJ's men. And that says a lot because Bryn is still up there, but Finn is still my favorite. But still, Owen is like number 2 now. So I think this is one of BJ's best books yet. So good. But it is out now, so go read that. I would definitely read Shaw and Tate first. I mean, you can read it as a standalone, but I think you get more enjoyment out of it if you read Shaw and Tate before this one.
Lots of books to go read then.
Yes, it was a good reading week.
Okay.
And now we have a whole bunch of DNF series books to read. So yay! It's gonna be fun.
All right.
Well,
make sure you check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us. And also hit that notification button so you don't miss any of our surprise video drops that usually happen on Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to be going hard with our interview series coming up. So make sure you stay tuned for that. We have some great narrators that are going to be coming on and some more authors. So our lineup will continue into the fall and maybe even further because we have some more people that are going to be coming on closer into the holidays. So definitely want to stay in tune for all of those.
Yep. So thanks for being here, guys. We'll see you in the next video.